talk session tonight. Tonight we are going to have our 131st session, and tonight we are going to have different educator. As you know that, as you know that it's like as usual we have different educators, and tonight we have a teacher trainer and Dr. Görsev Sönmez as our guest. When she comes, we are going to start our live session. So let me invite her to the session, then we can start. But sometimes we have this technical problems. It's not in our hands. So sorry for this situation. I hope this time it's gonna be okay. I have invited her. Yes, I have sent it. Hmm. Yeah, I accepted hocam. And I don't know. No, I'm still waiting. I have accepted. I'm still waiting. This is the first time it happening. I really don't know. Something related with the Instagram, I think. I did. I expected. Accepted. Hocam, I'm still waiting for. I tried one more time. I can see your request. Still waiting. Now I'll try. Just a moment hocam, one more time. Yes. Now it's okay hocam. I can see you. Finally.
Thank God.
It's
I was sweating here.
no, it's something I think related to the Instagram because it's not about our connections, but it's okay. Anyway, finally we can see each other and our followers they can see us too. Anyways,
My apologies from the audience. So sorry
no,
for this
it's okay.
inconvenience.
These technical problems can happen anytime, so we can't do anything. Anyways, and I would like
Yes.
let's come to the point, hocam. And I would like to say thank you very much for accepting my invitation and being our guest tonight for Teacher Talks. It's really great honor to see you and having you here. Thank you one more time.
Thank you, Hocam. Thank you so much. It is really great to be here. It's a virtual situation, but anyways, knowing you in this virtual environment is also another proud for me. Thank you so much for your invitation. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Thank you, hocam. So if you are ready, can we start?
Sure, sure, please.
Okay, wonderful. And I know about you, Görsev Hocam, but maybe our followers would like to know about you. So can you tell us about yourself, please, and a bit about your experiences too?
Of course. Actually, if you ask me to give some details about my life, it takes a little bit longer because I am already 45 years old. But let me start with my education life and a little bit family background because it is very much related to my teaching experience. I am a daughter of a family of which three prior generations are all pedagogues and teachers, actually. My grandfather was one of the first ministers of education of our republic. And I have learned lots of things, pedagogy in the family, actually. And my mom was a retired language teacher. That's why I decided to become a language teacher. But in the end of the time, my only ideal was to become a teacher. The subject area was not very important at all. Becoming a teacher, being with the students, trying to add something to the future of the country was my only ideal from the very early years of my life. Of course, I reached my aim and I started Marmara University at 1996 and became a language teacher in 2001. Then I worked as a language teacher for 6 years in state schools, different state schools. And I had my compulsory training and teaching. And then I started my academic life at Yeditepe University. I became an instructor there first, then started my MA in English language teaching, completed it with top honors in 2009, then started PhD and
Congrats.
completed it with top honors again in 2015. And since then, I have been working as a teacher trainer in different universities. I worked at Yeditepe University. After that, I founded English language teaching department of Hasan Kalyoncu University at Gaziantep. And then after 4 years, graduating my first commerce, I started working as a instructor at Biruni University. I was again head of the department there. For 3 years I worked there, and now I have been working in a different area, different discipline. I am head of English Translation and Interpretation Studies department at Gelişim University. again, everything is around language,
Yeah,
but
we can see it.
don't
Uh-huh.
misunderstand. Being ahead in the interpretation studies does not mean that I am away from teaching, away from training. Never. I am still visiting lots of schools, and I have been working as a trainer for İstanbul Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü actually. Lisan akademileri, I sometimes share my information with the lovely teachers there, and still things are going on like that, hocam.
Wonderful. Wonderful experience, Hocam, you mentioned here about yourself. Thank you very much for sharing with us. And so my next question is, what was or were your turning point or points in your own education?
I can say that if you mean about my postgraduate education, I was very happy teaching at state schools. Actually, I was a English teacher in a state school, primary school, and those 5 years were maybe the best years of my teaching career. But
Wonderful.
unfortunately, if you have some ideals and if you have some principles as a person and as a teacher, sometimes without your will, you can be forced to give some different decisions. And after teaching for 6 years in state schools, those times I was saying like fortunately, but now I am saying unfortunately, I was forced to leave teaching at state. And I started my academic career. This was a really big turning point, but I said that if I wasn't allowed to work as a language teacher at state schools, then I have to train teachers to work at state schools. And I always, my former students, graduates know very well, I always say that if you want to become a teacher, please start from state schools because you will smell the kitchen there and you will understand the reality of our country there and those kids really need you. That's why I started my academic career with this decision. I can say that it was a really big turning point for me.
I can see that. Thank you very much for sharing this moment with us, Hocam. Thank you. And Görsev Hocam, and you have been working as a teacher and as a trainer, and probably in your career or educational life, let's say, you have tried different, how can I say, methodologies, strategies, and techniques in your lessons, and probably you have a kind of a philosophy of teaching. What is it? What is your philosophy of teaching, Hocam?
I can say that. By the way, I want to be very honest with you, Volkan Hocam.
Sure.
I don't believe in methods. I believe in strategies. Every teacher should have his or her own strategies to teach. And because of my teaching philosophy, which is student-centered and very humanistic, I always try to understand the needs of that specific atmosphere. And so I cannot say that every strategy is appropriate for every classroom or every technique is appropriate for every student. Impossible. So because of having a philosophy which is based on students, I always took them and their needs into the center. They are the agents. So they always directed me, guided me about how to learn. And I never became a teacher in the classroom. This is very classical maybe, but guiding them, sharing ideas, sharing information, having some time, valuable time together within the classroom atmosphere. And things are changing very rapidly, and students' needs are changing very rapidly. Economical situation, technological situations, everything is changing very rapidly. So we cannot stick on one thing. So yes, now I say right now I am a very student-centered teacher, a very humanistic teacher, but maybe 5 years later, I will give priority to communication more than student-centered, or constructivism more than communicative approaches. So things are changing, but till now, I always took my students' needs into the attention and into center of my teaching, and I always try to be kind, nice, and try to have good rapport with them, because I always believe that having a good relationship in every part of the life solves everything. The students should come to
Exactly.
my class happily,
That
without any nervousness.
that's
This was my
really
priority.
your priority. That's really
Mhm.
important point you mentioned, Hocam. The students, the students should come our lessons happily. When I entered our classrooms, they, I think we should easily see the smile of their faces. That's, oh, English lesson. It's gonna be really nice. We're gonna be happy. We will learn something. Exactly.
Valued. They are all individuals. They should be valued. They should be given importance. Their
Mm-hmm.
problems should be considered, because every single student has a different story. So yes, maybe we cannot know every single page of those stories, but we should at least understand that they have a story. So without getting angry, without creating a tense environment in the classroom, I guess all the teachers should keep it in mind.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Hocam. You mentioned good points here. So, Hocam, teachers, they have, the success stories. I think most of the teachers, they always have some success stories. And do you have success stories, by the way? If you have it, can you tell us one or maybe two success stories of yours? Something inspirational, if you have it.
I have a very important success story, actually. I am actually sharing the story. I am not the protagonist of the story, actually. uh, when I started teaching, I was 21 years old. But I was very confident, because I started teaching when I was a prep student at university. Anyways, my first students were fourth graders at Ahmet Onay Primary School at Ümraniye, Hekimbaşı. You know, maybe those places, I don't know, but the people from Istanbul most probably know those places. A suburban area, actually. And I had lots of students there. We had great communication. After nearly 20 years, one of them became my student at university as a
Wow.
language teacher candidate. Yes. And when I saw her in the classroom, I was really burst into tears, because it was a success story for her. She was coming from a very economically poor background,
Uh-huh.
and unfortunately illiterate family, lots of siblings, and she made it. And with full scholarship, she became one of my students. And it was a success story for her, but I guess I am a little bit, I have the right to share the success story. Hocam.
Great, wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing it, Hocam, with us. That's really important. Thank you. And Hocam, we know that you have been working as a teacher trainer, and the teachers or the other, I mean, like not from your university, maybe from the other outside teachers, they come to you and they ask your help. And how do you support them? How, when they need your advice, your suggestions, how do you do that?
First of all, you have to understand the situation very well. And unfortunately, hocam, the academics in our country who are training teachers do not have any teaching experience, generally speaking. And sometimes they cannot be very helpful. And those students, those teachers, when they come me, they always start their speech like this. Hocam, once upon a time, you were a teacher as well. And you taught in state schools. You know the situation. Yes, things are changing, but I believe you will understand me. How can I manage the problem? And at that time, of course, I try to understand the problem very well. And instead of giving suggestions, instead of giving advice, I hate being given advice actually and suggested something. I share my experiences. I sometimes tell them that, okay, similarly, I had such a problem. And I tried to manage in this way. If I were at those times again, I would not do it. I would do this and that. Can you try it, please? And this really helps. This really helps because experiences are very important and it is gained in years. You cannot expect a new teacher to have lots of experience. It is impossible. That's why they need our experiences. And in my teaching at universities, when I am training teachers, pre-service teachers, even with in-service teachers, I am generally asked to share my experiences as an experienced teacher. Volkan Hocam, by the way, I am working at a university. However, I am always in the kitchen. I sometimes visit schools, and in some periods, I go to private courses, teach. Sometimes I visit a kindergarten. I want to give them a model lesson. I do it voluntarily. I cannot be away from teaching. It feeds me because I am doing research, and without understanding the problems of those teachers, it is impossible for me to suggest anything in my research papers. Otherwise, they are filling the shelves. They are nothing. That's why I am teaching generally 4 or 5 hours a month. I know it is very few. However, because of my program, I can do it only. I go to my friends' schools sometimes. Sometimes when I go to collect data for my research, I kindly ask the administrator to go and teach. I do these things, and that's why I continue gaining experience about the new generation, actually. And that's why when they come to me and ask my idea about the problem solution, I generally share my experience.
Nice, understand. Thank you very much, Hocam. Thank you. By the way, and now we're talking about some teacher trainers, and you are a teacher trainer. But my question is, how did you decide to become a teacher trainer, Hocam? What happened and you decided this?
As I told you in the beginning of our interview, actually, Volkan Hocam, I was very happy teaching at state schools because I'm coming from such a family, and all my grandparents, my grandfather was one of the first educators and worked with Mustafa Kemal, actually, went to France by the scholarship that he had from Mustafa Kemal. And my grandmother was one of the pedagogues, first pedagogues of our country, women pedagogues. And my mother was a teacher. My aunt was a teacher. So there was no way. I was a teacher. I became a teacher. I was very happy. However, when I was teaching in the primary school, unfortunately, I witnessed some very bad events, like beating the students, like insulting them. And because of my philosophy, because of my principles, because of my ideals, I resisted. And I did not want them to behave as cruel as they are. So it was very bad witnessing these kind of bad events, actually. And when I wanted to talk to the administrators, they hated me.
Oh,
They said, you are a new teacher, you cannot interrupt our job. We are doing our best. Being a teacher is this. You know nothing. You will lose your philosophy in a few months' time. So who are you to interrupt what we are doing? And because of these reasons, they sent me to very far schools.
Wow.
And it was very difficult for me. And the last school that I worked was a high school. I was living in Ümraniye, and the school was in Ömerli. And it was very difficult for me to commute from Ümraniye to Ömerli.
Yeah.
And they said me, you deserve that. Why?
Wow.
Because I resisted some negativities in the system, in the education.
I understand.
And the things that I resisted are the behavior, generally the behavior, attitude of the teachers towards students. I didn't want them to be beaten by the administrators or the other teachers, actually. Anyways, and because of this reason, I couldn't go to school on time, and because there was no transportation, and the lesson started at 7:30, and I was at Ümraniye. The first bus to Ömerli was at 7 o'clock, so it was impossible for me to go. And I had to resign, hocam, unfortunately. And at the time, at that time, I had another option, and that option was becoming a teacher trainer and training teachers to become teachers at state schools. Because I have never worked at private schools, actually. I am not against, but I believe that these kids can reach knowledge anytime. However, in state schools, there is a great need for teachers, idealistic teachers, principled teachers. That's why I always suggest my pre-service teachers to become teachers at state. And here among the audience, I sometimes notice my prior students who are working at state schools.
Wonderful.
Actually, I am happy to see. Anyways, that was a turning point in my life, and as a result, I became a teacher trainer.
I understand. Thank you very much. It's really you had difficult times in your life, but now.
I never gave up. I still shout my ideas. If I see something wrong, you can tell me. Wrong is a very subjective word. Yes, it can be wrong for me, but very correct for others. But I follow the ideals of my country and for my ethical values. That's why I continue shouting, hocam.
I understand. And this is I think, can we say that this is also another success story of yours? It's kind of a success story. We can easily say it, I think. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, hocam, for sharing with us. And I think right now we are working at Gelişim University hocam.
Yeah.
So my next question is related with Gelişim to Gelişim University.
Mhm.
Language actually, English language education. What makes hocam, what makes different Gelişim University's English language education than other universities? Are there any specific situations?
I am not at a prep program actually, but I can talk about my own department.
Sure.
We are
Mm-hmm.
not teaching general English, but it is something specific, my students are going to become translators and interpreters. And it is a specific English for specific purposes, maybe we can call it. Here, thing is a little bit different. How can it be different? How can I explain it? I always try to make my students use language. The way that they use is not important. I am not following accuracy. I am following communication. All the time I did it. When I was a teacher at primary school, in secondary school, or at university, no problem. They should use language for their purposes. And if they can communicate, I am not going after their grammatical knowledge, actually. Yes, it is very important. However, I always tell my colleagues in my department that please do not very much stick to grammatical knowledge. Make them use the language without hesitation, without becoming shy in the classroom. Do not create the affective filter. Do not make the affective filter high, actually. Because for me, when they ask me why can't we teach English, you cannot teach English because you are a grammar-based instructor, because it is easy, because it takes your load, and because it is everywhere. You print out a worksheet and go to the classroom, ask them to fill in the blanks, and you think that you are teaching English. I'm sorry, not. I am sorry, not. So that's why I cannot say it is very much different at Gelişim University, because without any exception, in every institution where I worked, I always put this principle into the center. The students should use language in everywhere in their lives, and for me, taking language out of the borders of the classroom is very important. That's why I mostly assign project-based assignments to my students. And I hate exams. I don't like this summative assessment. I hate it, really. I generally take the process into consideration. That's why projects, portfolios, their progress should be observed very well throughout the semester. Maybe you can say that it is communicative language teaching. For me, it's social constructivist, actually, because they are social beings. They have their own constructs, they have their own schema, their own background, so they should bring them into the classroom, and they should share their own backgrounds, make projects together. If they are doing translation, they can do together. They should learn working in cooperation. Teamwork is very important because human relations is very important. And these are generally the basics of my teaching and the basics of my department at Gelişim University, actually.
I understand. Thank you very much, hocam, for this detailed information about it. There is something here. Mert hocam is, I think, writing. Can you read it? Or I can read it for you. Grammar-based classroom environment makes getting language skills difficult because learners start to feel unconfident and anxious of making mistakes as a result of avoid producing language. That's
yes,
what
definitely. If you ask me to comment on
Yeah,
this
sure. If you
comment,
want, you can.
uh, we are a foreign language country. We are teaching English as a foreign language. We are not teaching it as a second language, hocam. So, if we are a second language country, we can ask students to pay attention to the grammar because they are hearing, they are exposed to the language out of the classroom as well. However, classroom is the only place where students can hear, can be exposed to language. So in this situation, if you focus on grammar too much, the students lose their attention, lose their confidence, because they tend to memorize. Since they are not exposed to it, they are not learning it unconsciously or intentionally, they are trying to memorize the rules in order to be accurate and satisfy the teacher. That's why if you memorize something, you know nothing about it. You just tell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So using it is something different. If you are exposed to the language unconsciously, as students in second language countries, you can use it unconsciously as well. You know, in Turkish we say kulak dolgunluğu. We don't have it in Turkey, unfortunately. Some teachers may resist. They say that English is everywhere, internet, social media. I'm sorry, no. They are just purposeful. They are doing it for their purpose. For academic reasons, a classroom is the only environment.
I understand. Thank you for your answer, hocam, for the comment. Yes, Görsev hocam, let's move to another question, by the way.
Yes.
When you think about your training sessions or presentations or etc., what was or were the most interesting situation or situations that you faced?
There are lots of situations actually. Sometimes we can have some teachers that they think they know
Everything.
more than you, or maybe they do, I don't know. Or sometimes they can have a negative attitude, and they say that you are on the top of the ivory tower, you are sitting there, you are just training, come to the class and experience and tell us. That's why my every session starts with my teaching career explanation. I always started. First of all, I am not an academic, I am a teacher, I am a language teacher. I have been teaching English for 25 years. When I say this, they a little bit, okay, then we can listen or we can pay more attention. And other things come to the question and answer sessions, and they sometimes ask me one-shot solutions. Give us the pill, we will solve it. It is the most difficult situation actually. I always say that education needs time. Education needs some progress. There is
Exactly.
no exact solution for any problem. I'm sorry. You have to try. There is a research cycle. I'm sure you know it. First, you face the problem. Then you try to understand it. You share it with your colleagues. Go to literature. Share your problem
Analyze
with
it.
forums. Analyze it. And then figure out some solutions. Try it. Then you reflect. And if you think that you really solved it, great. But sometimes cycle goes on.
Exactly.
Sometimes you have to try another solution. I'm sorry. And that's why there is not a pill that solves any problem in education. It is, I guess, one of the most difficult times that I have, because teachers generally think that I am also a teacher. I also want it sometimes. They need exact solutions.
I am. I understand hocam. Thank you very much. And there is
Mhm.
another comment here from Meltem hocam. I have friends from Scotland, Ireland, and London. They are all English teachers actually and have a ELT diploma. Although they have native and having or carrying ELT diploma, they are not grammar obsessive.
No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be actually. And it is the be grammar obsessive. I ask my colleagues all the time, do you really think that we are using Turkish very accurately, very grammatically? But we are
I
communicating
don't think so.
very well. We are communicating. I always say that when a student goes to abroad, when gets on the taxi, he will not ask the taxi driver to fill in the blanks. My nephew, a graduate of a very important private university in Istanbul, went to Malta to visit his friend, and he was a graduate of a private high school and a private university
Uh-huh.
with 100% English medium instruction. He called me from the airport. Hello, can you please tell the taxi driver to take me to the blah, blah, blah?
Come on.
Isn't it interesting? Because
It is.
he learned grammar very well, but unfortunately, he didn't learn how to communicate. How to communicate.
I
And
see.
his English scores were really high because he was great. When I ask him what is perfect tense, present perfect gives me all the rules. What is passive voice gives me all the rules. Come on. Yes, it is a vehicle, not our target. It is a vehicle to
Exactly.
reach the target,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
If
totally
the
agree
vehicle is
with you.
good, if the vehicle is good, yes, you can reach your target, maybe faster. Perfect, good, I accept it. But if the vehicle is not fast enough and you reach the target again, and if you are more comfortable at that target, I'm sorry, I'm interested in that position,
Yes.
not your role.
So you are right, hocam. Thank you. Thank you very much, hocam, and for your comment. Okay, let's move to another question. And what how can I say about it? Okay, so as you know that the technology and the development, so it's not, it's not actually they are not easy to be followed sometimes. They grow every day. So and sometimes we cannot catch it. And in this situation, how do you stay updated with the latest developments and trends in ELT?
First of all, professional development should be continuous. That's why professional development centers changed their names into continuous professional development centers after pandemic, actually, because suddenly everything changed and we started teaching online and technology entered our lives immediately without any preparation. And at first, everybody, all parties in education got shocked. After that situation, teachers and professors of teaching understood that they should be up to date very well.
Uh-huh.
And first of all, technology is changing, generations are changing as well. We
Definitely.
have been working with Generation Z, who were digital natives. Now we are going to work with Generation Alpha, who are digital natives, but also who are the producers of digital world and new technologies. So we have to continue our professional development. How? Of course, research is very important here. Teachers' researcher identity is very important here. And teachers should not think that research is only job or duty of professors.
Mm-hmm.
They should follow literature very closely, actually. And recent developments are very well explained in high quality publications, and they are reachable. It is not very difficult to reach those publications. And in-service teacher education is very important. Actually, I am not very happy with the policy of in-service teacher education of Ministry of Education, because it is something very top-down. They decide what to teach at in-service teacher education. However, at least teachers should follow private teacher education sessions, conferences, teaching conferences. Can be very helpful. And I also very much appreciate some social media teacher trainers. There are lots of, actually, and I follow lots of them. One of them is you, Hocam, and I really appreciate the things that you are doing. These interviews are also a kind of professional development for the teachers, actually. And so connecting and creating a bond between teachers and professors is very important. We are in the field, we are doing research all the time, and we have to come together and share ideas. This is very important. And that is very influential, I believe, in service teacher education. And another point which I want to highlight, pre-service education curriculum should be updated very frequently. Unfortunately, we are still offering courses like computer-assisted language learning. Come on, there is no computer. Yes, we have computer-assisted language learning, but we should teach something. We have MOL as well, mobile-assisted language learning. We have other things as well, right? Now there is artificial intelligence. It should be added into the curriculum as well. So I told that in the beginning of our session, I told that students' needs should be considered. Things are changing, so students' needs are changing as well. And we should be following new developments very closely, Hocam. And these are the ways: following literature, research, and some social media, teacher trainers, and forums, conferences, in-service teacher education, updated pre-service teacher education. These are the key points, I guess.
I understand. Thank you very much, Hocam. Thank you. And by the way, just the one or two questions left, Hocam. Time flies, it's really. I hope you are not boring. It's okay.
I'm very happy. I already forgot my copy here, actually. I am very happy to share.
I understand. I'm happy to hear it, Hocam. Let's move to another question. And Hocam, there are lots of new teachers, and maybe they need couple suggestions from you. Is it possible to give them 3 or 5 suggestions that they can help them for their first experiences at school?
I have loads, actually, Volkan Hocam. I have loads of suggestions, but the first thing is teaching is something that should be done from heart, actually. If you do not use your heart before your brain, before your mental abilities, you cannot be a teacher. Teaching is something which is written in your personality. You cannot get rid of it till the end of your life. It is impossible. And in which situation you enter, you continue teaching. You can be at cinema, you can be in a kindergarten, you can be in a hospital, I don't know where, but it is your feature. It's your personal feature. You cannot get rid of it. So please do it by heart. Do it with your heart. Put your heart and try to be as humanistic as possible. If your students think that they are valued by you, If they believe that you are there for them, then you will have a great communication with great rapport with your students, and then you will enjoy it as well. Otherwise, you will get tired, you will get bored, you will get exhausted, you will become nervous, and it also will definitely reflect to your home environment as well. You will be impatient towards your children, towards your husband or wife. It affects, but try to enjoy. Try to enjoy. Sharing is very important. We are here to share our information. Teaching is this, actually. And I always think that pedagogy is very important, and it should come before your content knowledge. If you have good pedagogical knowledge, you can manage content. But at first, pedagogy. Read. My dear colleagues, read. Read our lovely professors. Read Üstün Dökmen, read Doğan Cüceloğlu, read Selçuk Şirin, read Bahar Eriş, read Özgür Bolat. There are lots of great people around us, and they are producing all the time. And if you really want to catch the students, if you want to throw a starfish to the sea, then you have to good pedagogy. You have to good human relations with them. Be nice. Be nice. That's it.
Thank you very much for the suggestions, hocam. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so hocam, there are some, the times and when we face difficult situations, we say, oh, I wish I could that power, and so I could do that. Or I wish that power, so I could do it easily. Or so when you think about it in the classroom, if you had a superpower, if you could actually have a superpower to use in the classroom, what would it be and how would it help you?
One of them is independent of education. One of them is about education. I guess I would definitely create a kind of economically equal environment in the classroom. This creates a big difference, actually, because when I see in the eyes of some of my students that they are not living in the equal life conditions, they cannot concentrate, and it affects their whole education life. Sometimes it affects them very positively. They become ambitious and they try to become as powerful as the other friends or classmates. However, when if I had the chance, if they were all equal in terms of economical situation, they would be much more happy, and their being happy is very important for me. And if we have time, I will explain an example which creates a background for this dream, actually. Another one is about education. I would definitely take language education out of the borders of the classroom, because within the classroom, it is not really possible to teach them language. Language should not be bordered, should not be restricted within the walls of a classroom. It should be learned authentically outside.
Outside, I see. Thank you. Thank you very much, hocam, and for your power to use in the classroom. Okay, so Görsev hocam, let's move to another question. Think that we finished the interview when you step outside your office or home, let's say, and you find a lottery ticket that ends up winning $10 million, which is a big amount for Turkey. What would you do?
Honestly, I have a dream, like most of us. I have a dream to have a beautiful house by the sea. First of all, some of them for it, because it's a big amount, Volkan hocam. I can do it myself as well. But I guess most of it will be definitely used for the education of girls in our country. And there are still lots of girls who cannot get education because of financial situations of lots of families. And some families, I have a very sad story. I want to share it with you if we have time.
Sure,
And if
of
it's
course,
very
hocam. Take your
boring.
time.
After I started my social media account, like Öğretmen Aşkı, it was only 6-7 months, and I sometimes receive messages. And one of the recent ones came from Siirt. And a girl who is 22 years old sent me a message and said that unfortunately her family did not send her to school, but he managed to graduate from high school, open high school, and unfortunately she never attended school physically. Completed primary school education, secondary school education, and high school education out. And now she managed to get a chance to have university education in a state school. And she asked my help to persuade her family for her university education.
Wonderful.
2023, and girls are still under pressure of their families. Still, we are fighting for our rights. Still, we are trying to help our girls. Why? For education. This is very sad. And I believe if the family are supported financially, unfortunately, they will let their daughters get their education. At least their daughters can get their education independently from their families. And this is very sad. And I guess I would definitely spend most of the amount for the education of girls, actually.
I understand. Thank you very much, hocam. Thank you. Your ideas about the money that you find. I hope you get that money in the future as soon as possible and make your dreams come true. Thank you. And hocam, Görsev hocam, here is the last question. Are you ready for the last one?
Yes.
Okay. What is your motto?
If you are a real human, become a teacher. If not, don't dare.
I see. Thank you. Can we get it again?
If you think that you are a real human, please fill in the concept very well. Please become a teacher. But if you think that you are not, don't dare to become a teacher.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you very much, hocam, for this lovely motto. All right. Görsev hocam, that's all my question. That's all. And before ending our live sessions, would you like to add anything else?
I am fighting to increase the value of teaching in our country, actually. It is a very important and valuable, I don't like call it job, but a responsibility, let's say. So if any person wants to become a teacher just to earn money, just for the teaching, easiness of the teaching hours, it is very difficult actually. However, there's a general comment like that. Please, please, please do not become a teacher, because teaching is a big responsibility and you should feel it in your blood vessels. Unfortunately, you cannot do it. And please think twice before becoming a teacher.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you very much, hocam. Thank you very much. All right. So I would like to say thank you very much one more time, Görsev hocam, being with us and
It was
share
beautiful.
and share your ideas and advice and your your time, especially the most important thing, you spend your time with us here. That was really important. Thank you very much. That was really precious. Okay, so
Thank you.
and Dr. Görsev Sönmez was with us tonight, and we had a fruitful session with her. And that was really great. And we are going to be here next week, as you know, that at the same time, on the same day, every Monday at 9 p.m. Turkey's time. And until next time, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, hocam, and thank you very much one more time. And we are
Thank
going to be here next week. And until next time, again, take care of yourself. And bye bye, everybody, and peace.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.